What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. You know what it is. I am glad to be back, excited to be back. I am also going to be honest right up top. This is the third intro that I've recorded for the show right now. You know, and sometimes that'll happen where I just I don't know, whether I cough or something messes up early and I'm just I'll redo it. But usually if I go 5 minutes, I'm like, whatever, I've committed to this episode. This episode is going through because I want to treat this kind of like a radio show where look, if I'm live, something goes wrong, it goes wrong. You just got to deal with it. Anyways, long story short, I was recording and I was at 9 minutes recording and I just I lost my train of thought while speaking 3 times in that conversation. And then I just felt I don't know, something felt off and I was like, what is going on here? And then I just stopped and I just stared at the camera and I was like, I can't. I don't know. And sometimes I would include some of that in the episode, but all I'm saying is I lost it. And so I just scrapped it. So I'm redoing this whole thing right now. And I'm excited. I'm excited for a redo. I guess I'm excited that it wasn't live. I mean, I didn't fuck up and say anything bad. I smoked a little too much weed earlier. I had a music session this morning. I was making a beat, so I smoke a little bazy, and I guess I still am feeling that because my train of thought was just all over the place. Oh, geez. Anyways, we're gonna give it another go right now. I got a fun episode today. I'm gonna talk about a lot of sports topics and a little bit of music stuff that I got going on. But before that, we're gonna start with a little announcements. As we always do. First and foremost, my newest song, "It's Okay," is out now. It's Okay, featuring Lalo. It's spelled I-S-S-O-K-A-Y. That's just for clarification purposes. Music video is out now. It's doing really well. Thank you to everybody who's been watching and sharing and giving us love. Seriously, the energy around it is really awesome right now. So I'm really appreciating that. For reals, go to www.thedavidlopez.com/music to always find my newest stuff. You will find It's Okay on there. You'll find the music video. You'll also find a link to play it just right on there, and you can buy it for $1 and support me. That would be much appreciated. Or obviously just go to any streaming service and search that, and you can find that. I appreciate it. And then also for all of our newest videos, we release, I'd say 2 to 3 videos per week, and then also a Spotify podcast episode, a Spotify podcast episode every single Monday morning. At least we've been doing. Next, we have 2 more left in this season before we take a little hiatus, but there'll be 10 episodes out of the Passion Park Experience. Go to passionparkent.com. Right on the homepage, you'll see it says new this week. That's all of our newest stuff. I update that website very regularly, so it should be up to date. If I mess up, I mess up a day. But if I don't mess up more than a couple of days, I swear. I try to keep it up to date. So go to passionparkent.com to really find all that stuff. There's a store on that website if you really want to support and get some merch. It's dope. This is the old logo. Right here is the new logo. We got all sorts of merch on there. So check it out. I really, really appreciate all the love that we've been getting. But anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let's get into the show.
David Lopez is the name. It's my show. Welcome to it. It's my show.
First of all, I want to reiterate how grateful I am for the support that we've been getting for the video so far. I just said, when we were doing it, I've been trying to be realistic about this new release pattern or release strategy where I'm really just trying to my whole goal is just to organically build a fan base that is expecting me to release good music, and then I want to deliver on that expectation. That's what I want, I feel like I'm not at all concerned, or I'm not even at all concerned, but what I'm trying to say is that I want everything to build on the last thing, right? So my biz did well. People liked it, and I appreciate it. Obviously, I don't have the biggest reach when it comes to these things right now, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do better at all the marketing and stuff like that. I'm trying to constantly grow at it, whatever. But my whole goal was all right, so the next music video's got to surpass that one, especially YouTube views, right? Well, It's Okay. He's already done that. So I really am grateful for everybody who's shown love. I think part of that is shout out to my boy Lalo, who's one of my closest friends growing up, which is crazy that we're made music now. But being at his first release, a lot of times, I feel like when you have your first release, people are more willing to check it out and give it a shot because they're like, oh, what's this all about? And which is why I feel like it's so important that we made a dope, fun, feel-good energy record that I'm proud of and I think is a fun song for his first release. So I think not only is he getting the eyes, but maybe people are hopefully going to start trusting that we're going to, together, especially him, like being a newer artist, like people will trust that good shit and good music is going to come out of this camp. You know what I mean? So I'm really, really appreciating that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I appreciate the amount of likes on YouTube because, like, I know I watch shit on YouTube all the time and I don't really always like it and shit like that. So, like, I know people going out of their way to do that is nice. But yeah, anyways, I really wanted to say thank you about that. We had a lot of fun shooting that video. Shout out to Domrod. We had to include Jim's in there. I had to get a pork chop sandwich, which was fire. So if you know, you know. Chi-town, baby. But yeah, no, we had a fun time. It was cool because of the. I talk a little bit about this, so I don't want to go too much into it. I want you guys to go check out the Passion Park Experience on Spotify. God damn it, by the way, I thought I changed my screen so that it wouldn't do that, but I guess I didn't. I figured. I can't figure things out. But anyways, because of the pandemic, the crowd was so empty out in the streets, it almost looked like we rented the whole, Grand Park area. It was no, we did not, but it was a fun time. And so shout out to Lalo, shout out to Domrod, shout out to everybody who's been watching. And it's okay. Feeling I look good today. And yeah, just, I want to also announce, I should have said this, I guess, during the announcements, but I'll say it right here. My next song is coming out this Friday, produced by Julian Xavier. It's called Lose My Cool. So yeah, that's another part of this series of Friday releases that I'm doing. That'll be the 5th one, starting in the beginning of 2021. We've just been going at it, and I got a lot more coming. So believe me, you think there's one after this? Yeah. You think there's one after that? Yeah. I actually have to submit some artwork and shit for a couple new ones. So I'm just reminding myself of shit that I have to do. Gosh, why do I procrastinate sometimes? I don't know. I got to do that, but I'm really appreciating all the love. It's like cool because like I'm not like I said, I want to just organically build an expectation of music to come from me, and I want fans to really come to me for music. Like for so many years, I think I've talked about this before, but like I like creating a platform for other artists, and like we had the showcase that we had before the Passion Park Experience, which was an actual live show, not the podcast, but where we showcase other artists. I like interviewing other artists and having them on and stuff. But like lately, especially like this year, I was like, man, I really want to focus on like building myself up, like and like a self-empowerment thing. Like it's like you know what I mean? Like let me show you what I'm worth type shit. But really though, like I was like a self-empowerment thing. Like I gotta show you guys like to remember, like I really do this music shit. You know what I mean? Like I had to remind myself too, but I wanted to remind everybody like, hey, this is what this is about for me. This is why this started. This is why I do this. Like all of everything else, all the radio, the podcast stuff, the interviews, the showcase, that all stems from my creating of music, like for real. So like I just had to like remind that, I guess, to myself and to everybody else. And so that's been kind of the journey that I've been taking this year, and that's why I'm so grateful for all the love we've been getting, because it's kind of proven to myself that I made the right choice in that regard. So I'm grateful. I'm happy about it. I'm constantly making more music, and I'm constantly pushing myself to get better at things. Like I've been, I've been talking about how I've been trying to produce more and make more beats, and like I've been really focused on that lately. I've been more on the drum pad, trying to really get at it. I think my shit's getting a lot better. I had a friend recently ask me if I could make him a beat, like a type beat, basically. Like he sent me a beat that he liked, and I had to make a beat similar, and I did it, and I sent it back, and it was dope, and like he liked it. And I'm like, so I just think I'm getting better, and that's what I just want to say to if you're a new fan, old fan, just a friend who's watching, a new fan that hasn't seen anything before. Like I'm gonna keep pushing myself to get better. Whether or not I have 1 billion fans or 100 fans or 50 fans or 20 fans, I'm still gonna keep pushing myself to get better. So that is my declaration. And I'm doing it like every day. So like I got a ton of music coming this year, like I said. And best believe there always will be. While I'm doing all these singles and it's fun, I love making albums. So best believe there's something in the works on that regard too. And with that being said, we got to move into some sports stuff. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I got a lot of sports topics to talk about. I got to look at my list even to remember. What's up with my headphones right here? Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, chords acting janky right here. It's going in and out. All right, that's enough for that. That is a beat that I just made. But here's what's gonna happen here. I got to talk about the AFC and NFC Championship game, right? Particularly the NFC Championship game. I didn't give you guys what my picks were because I didn't do a sports episode last week. I apologize if you were waiting for my picks. I doubt you were because I've been doing terribly and I'm a terrible gambler. So always go against my picks, really. But what I was thinking in my head, I actually thought there was a good chance the Bills could win, but I also knew what happened could happen as well. So I don't know if in the heat of the moment when I have to if I had made the pick, I think I was going to pick the Chiefs, but I don't know. I can't verify that because I also said to my brother in a conversation, I said to him, I was like, I could see the Bills like going on a run and just like really running away with it because I had seen the Chiefs struggle a little bit. And boy, was I wrong there. The Chiefs handled their business pretty, I don't want to say easily, but they handled their business. They did what they had to do. They're the best team. They really did. Now, I also, in that same conversation with my brother, I said to him, I think the Packers are better than the Buccaneers, but I don't know. I feel like the Bucs are going to win. I said this. Do you want me to call him to get the quotes? I swear I said this to him. So I am not surprised the Buccaneers win. You know, as many of you know, my wife is a Packers fan. I live with a Packers fan. We are having a baby. She's trying to make the baby a Packers fan before the baby's even out in the world. I don't know how to handle all these things that are going on here, okay? Because I'm a hardcore Bears fan. But this goes to share, I haven't really got to say my real opinion on the whole game because I was trying to be sensitive. I'm a good, I'm trying to be a good husband here. I'm sensitive to the whole fact. So I'm really excited to share what I think about that game and how it all unfolded. I mean, I want to start by saying this. What happened to both of the head coaches in these AFC and NFC Championship games as far as forgetting to do math? What happened? I'm only going to touch on the Bills one briefly, and then obviously we're going to get into the Packers one that everybody's been talking about at length. And so I want to add hopefully a couple of different takes. But so the Bills game. Bills are losing, right? The Chiefs are running away with the game. Bills finally scored a touchdown. They were 3 scores away. They scored a touchdown. They cut the game to 17, right? So you're 3 scores away when you're at 17, right? No matter what, you need 3 scores to get 17. There's no way. If you just kick the extra point, it's the 16, and then there's still a possibility of it being 2 touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions. Right. Why in God's name at that point would you go for the 2 then? At 17. If you go for the 2 and get it, okay, you cut it to 15. That still requires 2 touchdowns with 1 2-point conversion. Okay, a little bit better. But if you don't get it, you have 3 scores you need. The negatives far outweigh the positives in this situation. I was honestly I have watched some Bills games. I guess not enough. I don't know. Has he been making these kind of decisions all year? Because that to me was mind-boggling. I was like, is that Matt Nagy out there? Like, what's going on? I could not understand that at all. And furthermore, so then the Chiefs, I don't even want to expound on that game too much. It was pretty simple to me. The Chiefs were the better team. The Bills have a bright future. Whether or not they make it back to an AFC Championship is to be seen. That's always tough when you're early on in somebody's career, Josh Allen, and he doesn't perform that well in the game, and the coach is like, well, it's early on, he'll be here again. You never know. You really never know. Sometimes early on in your career, that one you get to is the only one. For example, Mark Sanchez, although they got to 2, but still, you know what I mean. That doesn't mean you're going to have a long career and get there. Although I think Josh Allen is on his way to a long, good career. But the Chiefs are the better team. Chiefs are dynasty. I mean, what is it? They've won like 27 games in a row or something like that. It's something crazy. But not 27 games in a row, but I don't remember what their record is going back to whatever, but it's some crazy record that they have. They're on a serious run here, and it's setting up for a crazy Super Bowl matchup. But before we get there, the Packers have to make some terrible mistakes. Now, here's the thing. Even if the Lafleur decision wasn't as bad as it was, And what I'm talking about here is Packers down 8, 4th and goal on the, I don't know, what were they, 8-yard line? And they decided to kick the field goal with, not much time left. They did have 3 timeouts, including the 2-minute warning, or not including, adding the 2-minute warning. I mean, that decision was terrible. But even if they didn't have that decision, they made some serious mistakes during that game. I mean, that touchdown they gave up at the end of the first half, you almost can't win a game that's in a conference championship when you make that big of a mistake at the end of a half. I mean, they just gave them a free touchdown essentially, and the Packers had the ball before that and mismanaged the clock. It was terrible. But the Lafleur decision is unfathomable. If you listen to any sort of sports media, you've heard at length people talk about it. I do not get it. I don't know if he'll ever get past this as a coach. That particular decision, because going from 8 to 5 is still a touchdown away, and I know people have harped on this, so I don't need to get into it too much. It's just more math. That's why it goes into my coaches can't do math. It's still a touchdown away. All you're really doing is creating a tougher field position situation and making it so that if you score, you win, and that's it. There's no potential for overtime. You just eliminate the overtime potential. But you're also trusting your defense over your Hall of Fame MVP quarterback. That is a serious issue. I don't get that. Yes, Rodgers should have ran on 3rd and goal. He also said that he thought he had 4 downs. That's an interesting note to know, that if he didn't know, because, I mean, maybe you approach that differently, but, I mean, I think you do approach that differently, but he said he had 4 downs. He thought he did. I just don't get it. I just, and I know this is what everybody's saying, I just do not get the math at all. But also what I need to say about this whole situation is, okay, and then the other thing is the pass interference. So then finally the defense almost gets a stop, and then there's a pass interference call. Late flag, I get it, but it was a pass interference. Now, the one that I'll add to it, though, that's an issue is that the Rodgers interception earlier in the game, that receiver definitely got held, and then the Buccaneers directly scored the touchdown after that. So I did feel like the refs screwed them in that regard, but of course, everybody that I'm around, all the Wisconsin people, they're all like, the refs screwed us and all that stuff, and that's true, but I think the Packers made a lot of mistakes. But what I think, and I think I've heard a couple people say it, but maybe not that much, by Lafleur choosing not to give Rodgers the option to pass on 4th down, I feel like Rodgers is kind of getting a pass. I feel like Rodgers is getting the pass. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen, like just talent-wise when you look at it. I think most people agree. It's just like, man, he's making some crazy throws. He went on that crazy Super Bowl run 10 years ago. And he's had an amazing career. But I firsthand, because I'm, like I said, married so close to Packers fans, I have seen him far too many times have the better team and lose in clutch games, big games. This game, he did not play that great. He did not play up to his potential. The Green Bay offense did not play up to their potential. They made too many mistakes. I think he would say that too. But he's going to get the complete pass for this because of the Lafleur decision. I think we need to start, it's because he won that one ring earlier and they did go on that run. I guess I would have to look at the stats from that run. I know he had good games, and I know he was so he gets the pass completely for being a clutch performer, I think. And he's made obviously these Hall of Fame Hail Mary throws that have won games. But in these big, big clutch games, too many times they have the better, higher seeded team and have lost. It just happened so much. And do you remember Peyton Manning was always known as not the non-clutch quarterback because of all these things? He couldn't win a Super Bowl. He couldn't do this. I mean, what if Rodgers doesn't get that first ring? I know now we're getting into hypothetical worlds. No point in doing that. But if they do lose one of those games and doesn't get that first ring, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the Peyton Manning thing with Rodgers here? Because now it sounds like he might, this is all speculation, but Adam Schefter brought up the idea of Rodgers leaving and forcing his way out of Green Bay and essentially going to one of the California teams. And yeah, he can do that, and of course. But did he fulfill his promise then? Not his promise. I guess, what is this? What are we saying? I'm all for the player empowerment. Go to the teams that you want to play for sure. But you commit, you sign a contract, you say you're giving it all. I guess not even did he fulfill. What I would say to that is, if his career as a Packer were to be done after this year, hypothetically speaking, I don't think it is, but if it were, would you guys be satisfied with his career as a Packer with one Super Bowl, with knowing how good he's been? I don't know. Or would you say he wasn't that clutch? He wasn't. Would you say that? I know there's a lot of other factors in football, but I don't know. I just haven't heard it brought up as much because Lafleur is really getting beat up, and that decision was terrible, and I cannot comprehend it. But I think for it to come to that decision, Rodgers didn't play well enough. Like, it shouldn't have came to that decision. Rodgers did not play well enough, and that's just my take on the situation. Tom Brady did. And I couldn't even say that because everybody is a Tom Brady hater. I don't understand. We're watching the GOAT. We're watching a 43-year-old quarterback take another team, a team in another conference to the Super Bowl, to his 10th Super Bowl. This is insane, man. Like, I wasn't like a super Tom Brady fan, but I was never a Tom Brady hater. I just like watching greatness, and this is what we're watching. No, he didn't play amazing. He had 3 picks, but he played very well. That first half was spot on. His throws were off in the second half. But I don't care. That was a championship performance. This is what he always does, whether or not the numbers always reflect it. He knows how to win these games. Like that last situation where it wasn't the last situation. Well, yeah, the last drive, I mean, to get them to run the clock out was, masterful. That's why that's another reason, like, even if you're just not trusting your defense, you're not only trusting your defense over trusting Aaron Rodgers, but you're also trusting your defense against the greatest quarterback of all time in the 2-minute drill. Like, I don't get it. But so they're up 5, and they were going to run a screenplay to try to get the first down and probably try to end the game. But instead, he just spiked it right away because he knew the play was going to blow up, and he couldn't risk a sack or anything. He had to get the 3 so that would bring it to 8, so there would be no way they could lose the game right there. It was just like such a little thing, but it's just like he does all those things in clutch moments without hesitation because he's the GOAT. Right? It is what it is. He's the GOAT. And it's nice to I mean, it's cool to get to experience this. Like, you always hear past generations talk about who was the GOAT or whatever, who was the best. But, like, this is who I'm growing up with and seeing, like, is the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, there's really no comparison. But that's what makes this Super Bowl cool is that if I were to compare it to basketball, because we're going to get into a little basketball stuff, and because, I love my hoops, so I have to compare it to basketball. It is essentially like if we would have got to see Jordan on the Wizards against LeBron on the Cavs in the finals. Obviously, it would have been the Eastern Conference Finals because that's how they would have lined up. So, whatever. You know the hell I'm talking about. Like, how could we have switched that up? But that's essentially what this is. Pat Mahomes, by all accounts, everybody's predicting that he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time statistically. And even if we don't look at statistics and say something happened and he just retired tomorrow because he wanted to stop playing football, everybody who saw him play would be like, that was the greatest quarterback of all time. Because you just look at him skill-wise and what he does on a week-to-week basis and how he even knows how to win, too. He does the intangibles. He's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. And he probably will finish that way, and I think he will go down that way. But for now, Tom Brady is still the GOAT. And we're actually going to get to see that Super Bowl. We never got to see Jordan versus LeBron. We did get to see Jordan versus Kobe, and we're going to get into that. But we're going to get to see that, and that's really exciting. So I'm really excited about this Chiefs-Buccaneers Super Bowl. I mean, I kind of wanted to see Chiefs-Packers because I wanted Mahomes Rodgers, and I guess I just wanted a happy wife, happy life. But I'm more excited about this, honestly. Like I said it the whole time. Like I could see Tampa Bay playing a home Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. It happening. I could see it happening, and now it's coming to fruition. And so get ready to be sick of the Brady storylines over the next 2 weeks. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Next week, I'm going to do a full-on prop bet episode. That's maybe not the whole episode, but part of the episode will be me doing full-on prop bets for the Super Bowl. And I'm excited about it because I love doing those. Who knows? Over/under on the national anthem, there will be a crowd there. But not as many people as normal. But so will it affect it? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to go into all those things. I'm going to break them down. That's next week, though. I briefly, I just mentioned right there that, Jordan did get to play Kobe. And the reason I said I was going to talk about that more is that we're going to segue into basketball right now. And today, Tuesday, January 26th, is the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's passing in that tragic helicopter accident where, Kobe, his daughter Gianna, and 6 others passed away tragically. So, just briefly just saying, I remember exactly, my wife and I were at a restaurant. This was right before the pandemic too. So we're coming up on a full year of the pandemic. really coming on. We were at a restaurant eating, and then we saw it come up on the news, and we were like, what? And my friend texted me at the same time, Clint, shout out to Clint. And, yeah, it was crazy. I remember that. But so rest in peace to Kobe and to Gianna and to all the victims of that terrible accident. Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about it before, but I'll just briefly say I got to see Kobe Bryant live one time with my friend Clint and a couple of my other friends, and he hit a buzzer beater in overtime against the Bucks. So it was a cool experience seeing that. But yeah, just seeing how much he impacted so many people, and it's seeing all the tributes to him over this past year really has been, emotional. It's been such a long year, such a long, crazy year when you think about it. But it really kind of started, the tragic nature of this year really kind of started with this Kobe Bryant tragedy at the beginning of last year, and then right after the pandemic began, and then all this other stuff. So yeah, rest in peace to Kobe Bean Bryant, the one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA and about who's doing great and who's MVP caliber like Kobe. And right now, we got a couple of surprises. When me and KT spoke, which I should say, I want to get on me and KT are going to do another Zoom here soon, but I want to say shout out to KT. Want to give him well wishes from the David Lopez Show, from Passion Park Entertainment, from all of us over here at Passion Park Entertainment. We want to wish him well wishes. He just had surgery on an Achilles injury that he suffered playing hoops, dedicated hooper. I'll have him, we can have him talk more about it. But looks like he's recovering well, so shout out to you, KT, wishing you well. And we got to talk more hoops and make more predictions. But anyways, when we spoke, we made a couple MVP predictions, and I made a wild card MVP prediction. Said, is it possible that Devin Booker could win one? He is not on anybody's list so far, even though the Suns are playing so well. But what I want to mention is two players. Nikola Jokic, I think we might have briefly mentioned him, but he really, really is kind of the front runner to win the MVP right now. He's looking really good. He's almost averaging a triple-double, if not averaging a triple-double. I don't have the stats in front of me. I was looking at him before, but whatever. I'm not the best. I need a stat person. No, I don't. I just need to do more work. But anyways, he's having an amazing start to the season, and so is Joel Embiid. The Sixers are really better than most people thought. I mean, we all thought they could be good, especially with the coaching change. But the coaching change is proving to be bigger than we seem to think. Maybe it's just a flash of new energy in that locker room with all that talent. So yeah, and Ben Simmons is having a great year too, but Embiid is the one who's really putting up the big numbers. So Jokic and Embiid seem to be really, if you're looking at bets, I think you could probably make a little money if you bet on either of those guys to win the MVP. LeBron has a chance too. There's a wild card chance there if the Lakers just dominate throughout the season, which they really might. I mean, he had 46 last night, and they're now 13-4, I think. So if they go through this season and win, let's say, all right, so they're 13-4. So let's just hypothetically say, so 52 and 12 if you times that, or 52 and 16 if you times that times 4, right? So 62, so that'd be 68 games. So that'd be 4 more. So let's just say they win 55 to 60 games. Realistic. That's realistic because that would mean they lose 12 more games throughout this next, the next rest of the season. That would be a pretty dominant year. I mean, if you go 60-12, we're talking dominant season. But if you go, if we're talking 59-13, 58-14, those are dominant records. And LeBron averages, pretty well because he's not having to play all the minutes that he's had to play because of how good they've been. I could see LeBron winning the MVP again. Honestly, I could see it. He feels like he should have won it last year, so I could see him doing it again. So that's a sleeper if you're looking on bets there. And then another NBA note is that they are considering actually playing an All-Star game. We were talking about no All-Star game, and something I was a little upset about as I transitioned to a little just some of my thoughts as a Bulls fan was it seems by all accounts that Zach LaVine will be an All-Star for the first time ever this year. And, I mean, barring any injury or any crazy thing, he should be an All-Star this year. He's having an amazing start to the season. The Bulls are surpassing what a lot of people thought so far. It's really early. They did just get their ass whipped by the Celtics last night, and it wasn't that great. But nonetheless, LaVine is just having an amazing start to the season. So my note I had just said to my brother was it Sucks. He's probably going to finally be an All-Star, but not going to play an All-Star game. But now I hear that they're voting on it. They might actually get to play an All-Star game. And I don't know if they'll have any fans. Some of these places have had fans. I think they were saying that possibly Atlanta, and I think Atlanta might be allowing fans. So it's per state rules, I suppose. Every place is different. But I know Chicago, like I was watching the Bulls game last night, they still don't have any fans. Still pretty quiet there, kind of awkward. But in all honesty, I've been loving having League Pass this year, and I've been really just diving into the Bulls specifically. Like I've been a hardcore Bulls fan this year. Like I've been watching a lot of their games, and I'm really excited about it. I'm happy. Like I told you, my wife is trying to make this kid a Packers fan. I'm going to try to turn that kid into a Bears fan, but I'll tell you one thing, definitely turning this kid into a Bulls fan. I swear I'm making it happen. And one reason, I'm going to say this. Milwaukee, because we live up here now, I don't care. I mean, I would like watching the Bucks because I like Giannis and I would like to watch them. I'm not a Bucks fan. I'm a hardcore Bulls fan, as I've just said. But Fox Sports Milwaukee has not done a deal with YouTube TV, and they I don't know what they have. They're on their own shit, doing their own thing. They've like been exclusive. So like I have the NBA League Pass and YouTube TV, but the local blackouts won't allow me to watch it, and YouTube TV won't allow me to watch it. So I don't get to watch any Bucks games, even though I live here, but I get to watch every other team. So fuck it. I don't care. I hope that continues for the rest couple of years, so my kid only gets to see Bulls games. We don't even talk about the Bucks in this house. That's how it's gonna be. You're doing this to us. You're doing this. That's your choice. Giannis, you got to come to the Bulls, baby. I know he just signed the extension. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, guys. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. But anyways, that's what I got to say about that. And speaking of these young Bulls, they are showing some strides. I'm liking seeing the backcourt of Kobe and Levine looking like they're growing. I've hated on Lauri Markkanen a lot. I don't think he has a lot of creativity to his game. I think he's pretty rigid, but he's a 7-footer, and when he's hitting threes, that's an effective player in the NBA and a useful player in the NBA. And he's been playing pretty well since his return, so I just want to say shout out to him. Like maybe there is some potential for him, but he's got to be a knockdown shooter if he's not going to be creative in his drives, because I just don't see anything going to the rim. He's not a good rebounder, even though he's that big. He's not physical enough. I need to see a little more from him to know he's going to be a long-term solid NBA player. But like I said, if he can be a solid shooter, that's a role that he can have a long career. But like him and Wendell, I don't know if they're worth those lottery picks right now. They're not panning out. I do think Kobe and Levine are looking like those guys are potential, like, and long-term NBA starters and maybe, all NBA, all-star kind of guys, at least a couple times in their careers. So I think that's something to really build on for the future. Hopefully, like people don't need to be having that conversation. Like, what is Levine? I think we just need to build on what we're at right now and let's enjoy it. I love watching him play, which is, first of all, just great as a fan. It's nice having a team you like watching. I guess just dealing with the NFL season and talking about that for, 16, 18 weeks and just how shitty the Bears were to watch. It's been so nice starting to dive into this NBA stuff and really enjoying watching the Bulls. And that's been great. Another team, by the way, because of League Pass, the team that I've been watching like the most is like the Kings, and not on purpose. The Kings and the Blazers. I like watching the Blazers. But obviously these are West Coast teams. So the 9 o'clocks, my wife usually falls asleep around like 9:30 or 10. We try to spend some time together before then. And we'll watch some NBA. She really does not mind watching sports at all. She loves watching sports, which is one of the reasons I married her, right? But like I'll really just start diving. I'll have like 2 NBA screens going on and watching all the NBA games. Usually at like 9 o'clock, so those West Coast games. So I've caught myself watching all these Sacramento Kings and Portland Trailblazer games lately. And then I'll bet on them because it's like 9 o'clock at night. I've had a couple beers or something, and I'm just like, well, whatever. Fuck it. Let's make some money. Keep losing. I suck. Keep losing. Terrible, guys. But anyways, Kings are kind of a fun team to watch. I like watching Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield just jacks it up. They're kind of fun. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And then another note I had is the Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant experience has begun. I talked about it briefly last week, but they're struggling a little bit. They're going up and down. They're going to work through it. I still think I'm not going to really waver. I know some people are like, oh, see, look, they can't pull it off. Their defense is terrible. That's all true. But I got to tell you, in a 7-game series, they have too much talent for me to disregard them as like their defense is too bad. Like I just don't see, like, particularly the Bucks, who are the best team in the East really and have been the past couple of years and look like probably will be like one of the bigger challenges. I don't think they match up well with the with the Nets. I don't think the Bucks match up well with the Nets. I don't think they can score enough points with that kind of talent. I just cannot see a team. The only team I can kind of see beating them is the Sixers. And the reason it being is that Ben Simmons is such a good defender and Joel Embiid is playing at such a bit high MVP caliber. And he's like a dominant force that doesn't really match up well with the Nets. And Tobias Harris is like a formidable third guy on an NBA team. I think the Sixers could be the dark horse to come out of the East. I don't know if that really means, I don't know if the dark horse is used appropriately there because they might have the best record in the East at the end of this thing. But I guess my money would be Sixers or Nets to come out of the East now. I'm changing. I mean, I said Nets. I said Lakers, Nets in my prediction with KT. But I guess where I'm really at is Sixers or Nets. That's where I'm at. I need to watch a little more Sixers. I got to watch them a little bit. They're looking really good, but I need to really dive in and see if I think that's good. I think it'll translate. I mean, the question is Joel Embiid going to be able to keep this up? Because he looks motivated, and that's something. And then one other note on the Nets, I just wanted to say, we briefly talked about how Kyrie's Kyrie. Does his own thing. I don't want to hate on him too much. He's an amazing NBA player. You need somebody to get a bucket, as my brother so eloquently put on Twitter, I think. Is you need somebody to get a bucket. He is one of the best at doing that of all time. He is just a bucket getter. He for sure is. But he is out for COVID protocol because he goes to this party and does this thing. And then he comes back and I get the jersey swap thing. So him and Bam Adebayo on the Heat, we're going to try to do the jersey swap at the end of the game. Kyrie definitely initiated it. He went up to him, gave him a hug. The guys were like, hey, could you back it up? And then he was like, hey, let's swap the jersey. He took his jersey off. He was about to swap it. And just and then the security guys stopped it from happening, right? And I don't know. To me, it's not so much the jersey swap. I mean, I get it. Do what you want. And I know they were all tested before, so I'm sure that's probably what his argument is. Look, we were all tested. We know none of us have it. But the NBA is just trying to be super precautious. And, they're trying to protect the games and the quality of the games. And they want people playing. And they don't want people getting COVID and the health of the players. And so I get it. To me, though, the only thing I can say is Kyrie seems just defiant. I don't know if it's just right now where he's at mentally. He just looked defiant. Then the next game, he snuck to give his jersey to Bam, which was fine. Like I said, I'm not, fuck the rules. I've broken all the rules. I don't give a shit. I get it. But I just think it's something weird about, he just seems defiant. Even in his face when he's doing it, he's like, what, why, what's wrong? It's I don't know. It's I'm not saying, oh, you have to be, because you're a superstar, you have to be a role model in every decision you make. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be on this high horse saying all that. I don't know. I just noticed it. What? Why? Why does that have to be? Why does everything have to be so difficult? I guess is what I would say. It just seems like a constant. So I guess it makes sense. It's a constant in the Kyrie narrative that nothing is simple. So, but like I said, I want to give him credit, man. That dude gets buckets. He came back right away and was putting up numbers. So they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And I already said for my prediction, it's Nets or Sixers coming out of the East. And I got the Lakers. I can't not pick the Lakers, but I would like a Lakers-Suns Western Conference Finals. So reiterate my picks from before. I'm just double checking my notes here, but yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't think I'm missing anything. You know what? I am missing one thing, and I'll just leave it with this. It's back to football real quick, but I just heard them talking about it on the show that I always refer to, Waddle and Sylvie. Shout out to them. But were Bears fans happy to see the Packers lose? I'm just gonna leave you guys, with that question. If you're a Bears fan and you watch this show, were you happy? Are you the kind of fan that makes you happy? I'll be honest, on my side, obviously I'm a little skewed, maybe a little biased because I said happy wife, happy life. But I've never been the type that really, I think, is it reveled? Is that the right word? When you say I'm reveling in someone else's pain. I've never been the type that has really enjoyed when somebody else struggles. I just like when my team does well. And maybe that sounds like you're trying to be on your high horse cop out there. But I mean that. I've never really been like I said before, I guess when it comes to Cubs Sox, I never cheered against the Sox. I've always gone to White Sox games growing up. I cheer for Chicago, but I also never cheered again. I was just never a hater like that, I guess I would say. But I do know plenty of Bears fans that were fuck yeah, to see the Packers lose, and it's a good thing to be just joyous about. And I guess I'm kind of neutral on it. I don't go pounding my chest on it. I kind of don't mind seeing them go down, but it is what it is. I don't like I said, I'm not like super joyous about it, but that's the one note that I had and I forgot to get on that. I was just going to like say like, I don't know. I think that's an interesting question they asked. Like, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Are you the type of person that is joyous when you see your rival losing? I will say when I phrase it like that, I don't know. I'm sure there's some of that in me. So I'm not going to be on my high horse and say there's not any of that in me. That's the third time I've used the high horse saying in the past like 3 minutes. So that means the show's got to end. That means I got nothing left. Thank you for listening to another episode of the David Lopez Show, guys. I love you. I really do. No, I do. I love you for supporting me. I like all the love that's been shared to me via my music, via the podcast, via social media. That means a lot to me. I am just grateful for all that. Grateful for this great music that I be making. Make sure you check out It's Okay. Go to thedavidlopez.com/music to check that out. Rack up that new video. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the week. That would be dope. You know, success is all about perception and what you perceive. And my perception is every person who gets to see this is a success for me. It gives me fulfillment, should I say, and gives me some motivation to keep on creating. But either way, I'm going to keep on creating, as I told you guys earlier in the show. I appreciate you. I'm also going to keep doing this podcast because I like talking. Clearly, I like hearing myself talk. But enjoy this weekend with no football. It's the off weekend of football. So find some other stuff to watch. Like I said before, stay tuned for a new episode of The David Lopez Show tomorrow with Boy on the Bard. And I don't know, keep up with all of our stuff. Go to passionparkent.com to do that. I'm out. One love.